and welcome back to another day in the arena. It's me, it's CGB, and today in the arena we're jumping onto the mythic ladder with our newly crafted free-to-play mono red burn deck. So here we go. This is the ranked ladder. I haven't played it since in a little while. We're starting out in a new season from bronze tier 3, and yeah, we're going to see just where we get to running our red deck. We're not only going to run red, we are going to craft some other decks and play with different decks on the ladder, even as a free-to-play account. I'm going to hopefully show you fun ways to do that. But I think that if you're getting started, the best way to do it is with mono red burn. We just made a video showing how to craft this deck. Now we're going to play it in ranked. So get ready for some ranked free-to-play gameplay. It's a good hand already. We can play a shock into a steamkin, into lighting up stages and skewering critics, so it's a pretty solid keep. The opponent will open on a tapped Sacred Foundry, will hit a mountain and pass the turn, getting ready to send out steamkin. Here is a 10th District Legionnaire. No reason to let that hit us. Let's kill it while the opponent doesn't have any mana available. So goodbye to you. Holy cow, 3 light up the stages. If the opponent doesn't kill this, they will be very sad. Alright, crucial turn. We had a removal spell. Does our opponent have one? They have an Adonto Vanguard. Time for a tough spot. I don't have a way to increase the power toughness on the steamkin. I need to somehow deal the opponent damage. So what I can do is I can play the light up the stage to grow this now. And I guess that's the play. Feels pretty weird. Skewering this, they can pay 4 life to make it indestructible, which isn't great, and it takes our whole turn. There's 2 cards to play next turn, which isn't bad. Now, if our opponent has a Defiant Strike, they can give this Vanguard +1/+0 and block the steamkin and kill it. I really hate that. At the same time, it does get a Defiant Strike out of our opponent's hand. But I think that the right play right now, if the opponent had a Reckless Rage, they would have used it. So I think the right play right now is not to attack into this situation and give the opponent a chance to use a Defiant Strike to kill the steamkin. The steamkin can gain a lot of mana next turn, letting us have a very epic turn. And we want that epic turn. So we want to make sure that the opponent finds a way to kill us. Vanguard becomes a 3/1 when attacking. We don't want to trade. And here's Feather the Redeemed. A card that can definitely wreck us. Probably the strongest thing our opponent can do. Alright, so I can play this land and these 2 creatures, bringing the steamkin up to 4 power. I can attack with it. If the opponent has Defiant Strike with the Feather, it doesn't really do much. And then we can use the mana if the opponent takes damage to cast Light Up the Stages. So, here's a Spear Spewer. Grow the steamkin to a 3/3. Here's Chandra's Spitfire. Grow steamkin to a 4/4. Let's send the steamkin in. If the opponent wants to use a Defiant Strike to trade with the steamkin, that's good. A God's Willing would be a very frustrating card to see. Okay, that's going to let the opponent block the steamkin, and we can't remove the counters without the steamkin dying, so that's very frustrating. It also means the Feather is almost never going to die. We can't really kill the opponent's creatures anymore, so we have to find ways to kill their face. Fortunately, our steamkin lives. That's the only good news. Protection is an interesting and honestly frustrating mechanic. It means that any damage from a red source is reduced to 0, and we can't target it with red spells, so all of our burn stuff can no longer kill our opponent's creatures. The Feather's ability makes God's Willing return to the opponent's hand over and over again, making it almost impossible to beat them. Alright, now that we've accepted our position, along with the fact that our opponent still has 20 frickin' life, we know we're in big trouble. If our opponent finds the card Reckless Rage to start killing off our creatures, then the game is definitely over. Our best hope is to somehow get a ton of damage to the opponent's face. Our opponent spent the turn using God's Willing to scry and didn't do much else. That is a promising thing, I suppose you could say. All right, we need to have a pretty epic turn, so let's see what we can do. Let's make mana with the Steamkin. Let's activate Spear Spewer to trigger Enrage by getting damage directly to the opponent and charging up the Spitfire. The Spitfire will be very large, but the Feather can stop it, which is very frustrating. We'll light the stage. This is where finding an Experimental Frenzy can be key, because it can keep the cards coming and coming and coming. And instead we hit 2 land. Well, I know I want to play at least one of them. That's probably the worst thing that could happen. Now, if we hit 2 more, of course, I'll be crying. I'll be sobbing. A Shock and a Legion Warboss. Well, that's not... It's better than we were, that's for sure. So, come on down, Warboss. So I'm trying to think about if I want to use the Skewer the Critics on the Vanguard. If I can get the opponent to use the God's Willing on the Adanto Vanguard, then I'm much better off. However, I think I'd rather react with the Shock to when the opponent pays life after blocking something else. I think that's just better. Now, throwing the Spitfire in here into the God's Willing sounds really bad. That's not really a good play, as the opponent can block with Feather, give protection from red, kill my Spitfire, and I don't kill my opponent's creature. Alright, you have to attack, you may as well attack. If the opponent blocks with both, plays a God's Willing, I can shock the Vanguard, make the opponent pay 4 life. Maybe this means I'm supposed to attack with a Spitfire anyway to make sure I get damage through. Spitfire's not really doing anything. Okay, so now I want my Spitfire to die so that they don't double block my Steamkin, and so that there's a chance this Goblin token lives. Yeah, it's all about doing damage to the opponent now, so I may as well try. Here comes God's Willing. I could respond to it with a Shock or something of that nature, but that doesn't do much good. What are these 2 cards? They're not creatures, or the opponent would have played them. They're not land. I think we would have seen our opponent play something like a Defiant Strike too. They keep on top, so they could be land. Actually, land is one of the things they could definitely be. Anybody else want to block? Vanguard is thinking about it. Here we go. No, maybe, yes. All right, now I'll see if the opponent activates the Vanguard here, or if they let it die. So they pay 4 life. I could now shock the Vanguard and see if the opponent's willing to pay 4 life again, or if they want to lose the Vanguard. I don't have to play the Shock this turn. I think I'll just keep the Shock handy. Because if we target the Vanguard now and they let it die, then all we did was remove the 1/3, and I actually want them to pay life because I need to get more damage to the face. Alright, what next? Anybody want to rumble? No? So the opponent kept their card. It could be a Reckless Rage. If they have a Reckless Rage, they really should use it now. They don't want me to get free Steamkin action. So I don't think it is. It might be a Defiant Strike, but I think they would have played it. Yeah, what did they keep? A Defiant Strike they would have drawn a card with last turn. Maybe it's a second God's Willing. Regardless, we have to continue pushing our aggressive plan forward. Let's start with a Spear Spewer. And then let's use a Light Up the Stage to see more cards before we attack. I could use the Steamkin mana right now in case I find an Experimental Frenzy. But I really want this to be at 4 power. Yeah, I think it's going to work out. All I have to do is hit 1 card with the Light Up the Stage to make sure that happens. Lava Coil. Interesting. So we know the opponent wants to spend the God's Willing here anyway. I don't think I can really get rid of it. And we have 8 damage to the face. I think what I'm going to go for is a Lava Coil on the Vanguard. If the opponent wants to use the God's Willing, or if they want to pay life, I'm pretty happy. Because the God's Willing here doesn't trade very well. Okay, they pay 4. Oh my goodness. I think we might get there. What I'm a little bit afraid of is a Moment of Heroism. Moment of Heroism is a card that gives lifelink. If that card happens, I'm in trouble. But it is what it is at this point. Also, the opponent could have a random settle the wreckage. Anyway, let's get in there. Let's do our best. If the opponent comes out of this with less life than they entered, if they're at 8, we can go face. It is a second God's Willing. Or no, it's the first God's Willing. My bad. My apologies. Scry to the top. Mentor will go onto a token. Block. Block. I'd probably swap those blocks if I were the opponent. I'm going to go for a shock on the face to trigger the Steamkin and make it bigger so that the Feather the Redeemed doesn't kill it. I'm expecting shenanigans. The opponent's definitely left themselves at a terrifyingly low life total. They have a Defiant Strike. That draws a card. Why didn't they use it last turn? Alright, Steamkin down. Skewer the critics to the face. Skewer the critics to the face. Yes! We've powered through the God's Willing. We stayed focused on getting the face damage, and we made it. Spear, Burning Prophet, Runaway Steamkin, Skewer the Critics. Looks fun, sounds fun, should be good. Let's dance. 4th land off the top. Not a good draw. not the draw we're looking for. Maybe it'll come in handy if we draw an Experimental Frenzy. The opponent with a Goblin Instigator. Let the party begin. I'll get my Runaway Steamkin down so that I can start growing it into a larger creature. We'll save the Spear's ability till the opponent's turn so we can block with it if necessary. There is Lightning Strike, of course. Not surprised that the mono red deck has a way to kill the Spitter. So we make this block. Do we want to activate you? I'm not sure. Are we the beatdown or not? Are we defensive or are we aggressive? I think I'll just save this to use with Spectacle shenanigans and not activate it right now since I'm behind on the board. We draw the War Boss. If the opponent had a shock, I think they'd have shocked the Spewer, so I think this is a safe play on War Boss. We'll get ourselves a little Gobbo. We'll attack. And if the opponent doesn't have a way to remove the War Boss, it will cascade in damage and goblin tokens very quickly, but the opponent has 2 lightning strikes. Isn't that nice? The Gobbos keep coming. We have got goblin on goblin crime going here in the gameplay. And again, not using the Spewer till I need that Spectacle because I am not sure that I'm the aggressive party in this particular battle. Let's get Burning Prophet on the battlefield along with Scorched Spitter. Should I attack with my Goblin token? If the Prophet lives, the opponent won't be attacking me. I'm going to send in the token. Just trying to see if the opponent will make a move. And now we'll pass the turn. Chandra's Spitfire. That's a good one. Fortunately, we have an answer to it. Although I wish we had one of our own very much. And now the opponent's done attacking me. I think that's a sign that we're supposed to start spewing. Now keep in mind, our Spewer grows the Chandra Spitfire as well, so be careful when you use it. Let's do this again now. Reduce the cost of our Skewer the Critics. Not that it really matters, as we have enough land to play everything. A Lava Coil on top. You keep removal spells against other red decks. For certain. So now I'm starting to feel much more aggressive since my Burning Prophet lived. I have another removal spell. Let's start sending in damage. And that block is fine. The opponent wants to keep a Goblin Instigator around. That's okay. I'm going to try to keep Shock around as long as I can. I only want to hit really good targets. Oh my. Well, that's a problem. Let's see what the opponent does with that. Okay, Emblem. Yeah, that's not good. And she's snorting. Okay, the opponent's attacking with the Instigator. They're staying aggressive. I think I have to go face. I think that the Chandra is gonna kill me. So let's Lava Coil away this little Instigator boy. Let's put that on the bottom. So the problem now is that the Chandra can -3 to kill all my stuff. If we attack this for 4, then the -3 is still pretty good, but if we shock the Chandra can't -3. So let's go like this. Scorched Spitter, we gotta do better than that.
Wow, annoying.
Send you and you here. If we reduce the Chandra down to 2, and then it goes up to 4, we can draw a burn spell and hopefully kill Chandra. Say go. Alright, Cavalcade without creatures is nice. It means the opponent's a little short on action. Do I spew spears? Oh my. That makes 3 1/1s. That is unbelievable. And the opponent's going for the damage, which makes sense. I can block 1. Is there a draw off the top that gets me out of this? I guess some light up the stage shenanigans gets me out of this. I'm not going to survive another turn against Cavalcade and Scorcher, so we have to win this turn. So I may as well spew spears and try to reduce the life total as much as I can. Frenzy. Don't think that will be good enough. We do want a land on top because we need to play another land to cast more spells this turn, so I'll keep that. Then we play the land, and then shock. Okay, shock your face because we have to kill you. That's not good enough. We needed like a Skewer the Critics, I suppose, something of that nature. No, it's not gonna happen. We're going to take some Wrath on Chandra, or I'm going to try to. I'm clicking, but not much is happening. So we go there, let the opponent have their victory. We got blown up by a bigger Chandra, that's for sure. That happens. It'll happen sometimes. The Cavalcade version of the deck is also something a lot of people enjoy that I don't enjoy, but I wouldn't be mad at anybody for crafting. Huh. It's a slow hand, but it can kill a lot of things. It has a good threat and our card advantage engine in Frenzy, so I think I'll hang on to it. I'm skeptical. I'm very skeptical. It doesn't really apply enough pressure. Not as much as I want to, but it could be a good learning experience if it doesn't work out. The opponent's taken 2 mulligans. And everybody has these cats in bronze. Not the way I would spend my gems. But hey, I'm free to play. I has no gems. I'll be lonely for a long time. So the opponent with 2 mulligans ends up keeping 5 cards. We'll open on a mountain. They will open on an island. Second island, so likely a mono blue deck. And now they have a Merfolk Trickster or Brineborn Cutthroat, something that has flash. Let's launch an Ember Hauler and see what the opponent does. Essence Scatter, countering the Ember Hauler. Alright. So right away, we're up on cards, and our opponent's on 2 lands, and we are on 2 lands. This is going to be an interesting battle. How about a second Ember Hauler? No and no. Opponent is not having it. I think that's okay. Blast Zone in mono blue. What am I up against? Is this deck 100% counters? Let's try shocking the opponent's face and casting light up the stage. They might counter it. If they do, that's the way it goes. We're going to make them counter everything until the game ends. That's the plan. Okay. 3 straight counter spells out of a 5-card hand. There's the mountain we needed. Here comes Spitfire. Make them counter everything, because if an experimental frenzy resolves, we will beat them. At least that's the plan. End step. Do we finally get to see a creature from you? We get to see the Cutthroat. Now, Brineborn Cutthroat has flash, so you can cast it at instant speed, and whenever you cast a spell during the opponent's turn, you put a counter on it. And now the opponent pays 3 mana for a Tempest Shin. They're really going to regret that. Where you've got the Lava Coil. That will exile the Tempest Shin. With only a colorless mana available, there's not much they can do about it. And now we can attack with Chandra's Spitfire, which will give us Spectacle. And then we can skewer away the Cutthroat. Which, better to remove their creatures when they're this far down on cards than to go face. Alright. Opponent says go. Let's try attacking with a Spitfire and see if we can get the opponent to make a play. Alright, we'll play the mountain from the hand and go for the frenzy. If the opponent counters it, we still have yet another. We make them have all the counter spells. They're thinking about it. Using Blast Zone. Here's a Cutthroat and a Sailor. Okay. That does not deal with the frenzy. But they do have some power on the battlefield now. With Tybalt on top of our deck, that's going to go to our hand. It's not the greatest. Alright, mountain. Not the double mountain. That's unfortunate. So I think what we do is we sit with our Spitfire to block the Spectral Sailor. Now we have a card advantage engine, so the longer the game takes, the better. The opponent didn't draw a card, and they didn't activate their Blast Zone. I find that very odd. Yep, here comes Cutthroat. No blocks. Not wanting to lose the Spitfire here. Siren Storm Tamer can protect another creature by sacrificing itself for a blue mana. Here is a Spear Spewer. Now we'll see if the opponent brought counterspells to this party. Alright, here is a Lava Coil for the Cutthroat, which can be countered by the Storm Tamer, but we want to play it anyway to get deeper into the deck. The opponent with a Wizard's Retort. Okay. Here is another Spear Spewer. Here is a Mountain. Here is a Burning Prophet. Keep the party going. And we could attack, but then the opponent can attack in for an extra 2 damage. We're okay with playing defense a little bit now while we get more and more cards out of our frenzy. The Steamkin's going to go to our hand, which is a little bit unfortunate. Opponent poking around with their cards, considering what to do with this turn. They're going to activate Blast Zone to blow up my Spear Spewers and their own 1-drops. I guess the 1-drops are a little outclassed by the Spitfire, but now the Cutthroat is extremely vulnerable. I'm not going to block. Life is a resource. Let's use it. I find that play by the opponent pretty... what's the good word? Loose? If I cast this light up the stage... this is a curious one. If I cast this light up the stage now, we might just be able to lethal the opponent if we hit the right burn spells. So I think that's the right play. I'm also going to do something a little complicated. I'm going to turn on Full Control. The reason I'm doing this is because if I reveal an instant like Shock underneath the light up the stage, I want to be able to cast it before it gets exiled so I get deeper into my deck. Alright, it's a mountain, so we don't need to hold that full control. Well, actually we do, because we can resolve the Burning Prophet trigger first. Put this on the bottom. Is it a shock? It is not, so now we don't need full control. Spewer and Steamkin. Let's play the mountain from the top of the deck. Let's play the Scorched Spitter. Let's play the Spewer. Let's play another light up the stage. No. But we will play a Steamkin here in a second. Get some damage in. Now we'll send out Runaway Steamkin. I could have sent it out a little earlier, but I was trying to get lower to burn spells. Oh well. Now we can light the stage. So first Burning Prophet, then Steamkin. We don't need full control now, because we don't have mana to play something. We exile to skewer the critics. There's a Fanatical Firebrand. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Frenzy is going crazy. Does the Cutthroat still attack? I don't think it can. The opponent reveals that one of their cards is a land. We can play this from the top. Round 2. Let's play a Spewer. To activate this Spewer, pump up the Spitfire. Let's throw a shock at the opponent's face. Use the Burning Prophet to scry, put a land on the bottom, and you see the tag team with Burning Prophet and Experimental Frenzy at work. Of course, we revealed another land. Not the greatest. So if the opponent has any flash card, they can save the Cutthroat, so we don't really want to skewer the Cutthroat, we want to skewer the face. And we can scry this to the bottom now, so hopefully keep the Frenzy going. Nope, more land. So much land. Alright, let's get busy. Don't think the opponent can kill me. Let's see, if they play a Trickster and tap down the Spewer, they still have to defend their face, so yeah, they can't kill me. Let's get them. Not to mention, even if they made some kind of play, we could sack the Frenzy and play a Fanatical Firebrand to block with. Alright, you've got your 5/4. How do you stay alive? You have to chump the Spitfire. You have to block the Steamkin. Sure. So you're going down to 2. I have a Firebrand and a Tibble in hand. Let's make mana. No, let's not. I was going to make mana and sacrifice the Frenzy, but let's instead just make sure that this thing dies. It's going to be fun, but not necessary. And I can't kill the opponent quite this turn, so you get one more turn. Have fun. Got him. Experimental Frenzy's a messed up card. Just a messed up card, kids. It's worth a craft. Ooh, let's crack that pack. See if we crack something good. Good red card. Cavalier of Gales is a good blue card and a mythic rare. Can't be too upset. Okay, light up the stage, some spears, a war boss. We don't have any burn or removal spells for the face or the opponent's creatures. Fanatical Firebrand might kill something. That's my only concern with the hand. I like getting Spewer down right away because it almost ensures I can light up the stage if it lives. Alright. 2 light up the stages, wow. Alright, fire away. Let's light this baby. We do it before we play our land, so if we hit a land, we can drop it, and we do. I don't want to cast a second light up the stage right now. The chances of hitting lands that we can't play that eventually get exiled or hitting something like an Experimental Frenzy go up the more you do it. So you don't cast these as quickly as you can. You try to pace them. The opponent with a Thought Erasure. Ouch. And away goes that light up the stage. Now I feel bad. And that is a Rawl, is it Viceroy in the graveyard? So the opponent left our Legion Warboss in hand. That tells me that they plan to kill our creatures. And I don't want that. So Ritual of Soot, Cry of the Canarium, these are things that just wipe all the creatures off the board. So instead of playing into that and casting the Warboss, I'm just going to do damage with the creatures I have and make the opponent deal with the threats. God Eternal Kefnet's a good one. It's a mythic rare 4/5. What are you doing in bronze? Alright, well now that we've seen that, I don't have a choice but to play into these things. It's not going to get a lot better. I've got to get damage through. Alright. And we've still got Spears to Spewer and Shocks to throw out there, but we're just kind of hoping the opponent bricks from here. They don't reveal a spell, so the odds are that they did not draw one with the God Eternal Kefnet ability. It lets them copy spells. And here's a main phase Chemister's Insight, which makes me pretty happy, to be honest. Reeks of a little bit of desperation. I wonder how the game would be different if I had played the Warboss that turn. Let's hold the Shock. Or do we? Yeah, we do, because we might draw like a way to kill the Kefnet. Yes, perfect. Alright, that reduces the toughness to 1. The Shock puts the Kefnet in the graveyard. The opponent can move it back into their library third from the top, but this lets us get a nice big attack in with our Legion Warboss. You're telling me there's a chance. Oops. I could have used Attack All. This has Defender. I forget that sometimes. I'm human. Down to 7. Spewer takes it to 6. The opponent, with all these cards, they need to have a play that gets rid of the creatures, and they play a Narset, which does not. In fact, activating Narset will put the Kefnet on the bottom of the library, because you can't take that card, and they take a Discovery Dispersal, which also doesn't affect the board. These cards draw more cards, they look at more cards, they do lots of things, but they don't affect the board, and if you don't clean up the Warboss, you die. We did it! Yes! We ranked up! Welcome to Bronze 2. I hope you enjoyed this episode of ranked gameplay on the ladder with our Mono Red Burn deck. We made it from Bronze 3 to Bronze 2, smashed some opponents along the way, and had generally a really good time, I would say, trying to make gigantic Chandra Spitfires and do crazy things with Experimental Frenzy. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends who are getting into Magic Arena. Thank you for watching this video. As always, I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.